I'm gonna need a little bit of help on this review because this movie is, I need a little bit of help here. Today what's gonna help me out is a little bit of some Fireball. So, cheers, guys. So because the movie itself, The Batman, is very fast approaching, guys. It is literally, we're almost there. It's crazy to think that we're just less than a month away from The Batman. Put out 2 videos this week of Batman Forever and Batman and Robin just to kind of catch up and hurry up so we make sure we're there on time to review all these movies. As remember, last episode was Batman Forever, which I consider to be a very misunderstood and very underrated Batman film. In my opinion, I actually really am a fan of Batman Forever. Now we are in the second movie in Joel Schumacher's Batman movies, and his Batman movies, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And of course, this one, as I just said, is Batman and Robin. Yep. If you guys know my reviews, I usually start out with the good, and then I go on to the bad onto the movies. So, usually, of course, I gotta start out with the good, but just forewarning, it was really hard for me to find the good in this movie, because if you guys know, some movies I can. Most movies I can find some good. I can find some really good stuff in there, like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. I found good stuff in those movies. This movie, it's gonna be hard. One thing I can say that it does, I guess, is the least slightest of good that this movie does, is that it does do a little bit of cool references, a little bit of cool callbacks to the 1960s Batman series with Adam West. It does a little bit of cool callbacks to that, to where I'm like, you know what? I see a little bit of it, to where it does make you feel a little bit like nostalgia for the 60s Batman movies and shows. It does have a little bit of that in there, so I have to give it that. And another thing, which is kind of a complaint, but at the same time can be an actual good thing about this movie, I guess, is that this movie is literally so bad that it gave us Batman Begins, which I consider to be one of the best Batman movies ever made. Maybe the best Batman movie ever made, next to Mask of the Phantasm, in my opinion. And I guess that is a good sign, because if this movie wasn't so bad, that movie probably never would have happened. So, I guess we could thank Batman and Robin for that. Well, that's pretty much it for all the good of this movie, I gotta say. Sadly, that's it. So, let's get on to my real thoughts of Batman and Robin. Right out the bat, everything in this whole opening, the first minutes of this movie, from the opening credits up until the very first lines of this movie, it's just horrible. It's like, what? Like, you literally sit in there and you have to pause it for a second and take a deep breath and be like, okay, I'm gonna get through this. And then press again, and then you have to deal with the really bad opening of stuff flying around, names flying around, and all this stuff. And then we start out with, having, for some reason, an ass shot, because we have to have 50 fucking ass shots of Batman and Robin in this movie, because Joel Schumacher, for some reason, likes Batman and Robin's asses. Okay, if that's your king, Joel Schumacher, cool. But that is pretty much the whole opening of this movie. And then when we get to the first lines of this movie, it just sets up just the amazing dialogue that we have throughout this whole entire movie, especially with the first lines. And of course, the first lines of this movie is, and I'm not joking, the very first lines of this movie is,
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
that is literally the first lines of this movie. Now, I get it. In Batman Forever, the first lines of the movie was literally a commercial. And I get it. It was for a commercial. But I will take that opening. I will take Batman Forever's opening over the opening of Batman and Robin any day of the week. It's just horrible. That line, the first couple lines of dialogue between Robin and Batman in this, just sets up the horrible dialogue that goes out through this entire movie. Like, this movie is just, it's horribly written. It's just horribly written. Every line of dialogue is horrible. It almost makes you think, like, how did this get passed in a major motion picture? How did any of these lines get passed? Literally, all Mr. Freeze is doing out this movie is throwing out puns. All anybody is doing out this entire freaking movie is throwing out puns in this movie. It's like no one's even trying with the writing. It is just so bad and so horrible. Even poor Alfred in here. The Alfred has been here. Michael Doug, I think that's his name. He's been in here throughout. I know I never think I've ever mentioned his name in these reels, but Michael Doug, who plays Alfred throughout all these movies, he even has some horrible dialogue in here, like him talking about canceling the pizza and whatever. It's like, what the fuck? George Clooney as Batman. God, what else can I say about this that no one else has said before? You know, I'm sorry, and I like George Clooney as an actor. George Clooney had a great career going after this movie. After this movie, his career was great. Even to this day, he's a great director now. But, wow, this is... George Clooney is probably the worst Batman on put the screen and worst Bruce Wayne on put on the screen. Hands down, he is the worst, I think, out of all of them. The only thing I can give to him is that he slightly looks like freaking Bruce Wayne. There's moments in time where he's walking, like, okay, he kind of looks like Bruce Wayne, but as soon as he talks and he has a line of dialogue, he just looks like George Clooney. That's all he looks like, just George Clooney. Same thing when he's Batman. He's literally just George Clooney in a Batman costume on Halloween. He's not Batman at all. You know, one thing that is crazy about this and that you always love is that every Batman actor has their classic, you know, I'm Batman line.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
What the hell are you? I'm Batman.
I see you've discovered our little secret. Yes, I admit it. I am Batman.
This is George Clooney.
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman.
And throughout this whole movie, he's keep on doing his, like, George Clooney bobblehead thing. Like how George Clooney always does his freaking bobbleheads. And it's like, oh, God. Like, I love George Clooney. I said I like George Clooney as an actor. But him as Batman and Bruce Wayne is just horrible. He doesn't even look good in the costume. It's just a horrible... I would take Val Kilmer over George Clooney any day of the week. Any day of the week, I would rather have Val Kilmer in this freaking role than over George Clooney. I can't stand George Clooney in this role. Now, if you guys remember in my Batman Forever review, I actually said I like Chris O'Donnell as Robin. I thought he was a pretty decent Robin Dick Grayson. He wasn't the best, he isn't the greatest, but he was decent, I thought. He was pretty good in Batman Forever. This movie completely blows that all out of the water now. Like, this... He is so bad. Every line of dialogue in here is just horrible. And the way how they're portraying him, the way how he's just jealous of Batman and is between a girl because Poison Ivy is messing with their heads and he's jealous of Batman over Poison frickin' Ivy. And it is so... It's absurd. Like, it's like, what? What am I watching? Even his Robin suit in here sucks. It's not even cool. The Robin suit in Batman Forever was decent. It wasn't the best Robin suit, but it was at least decent. At least resembled Robin. I at least could look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's Robin. This just looks like... I don't know what this freaking looks like. It just looks so bad. I can't stand it. Pretty much all the suits in here are bad. Like the Bat suit, the Batgirl suit, the Robin suit, even their secondary suits that they for some reason somehow out of nowhere have time to go to the Batcave and change their costumes at the last battle. Yeah, that's something very weird. I never understood how they escape Poison Ivy, go to stop Freeze, but yeah, on the way to stopping Freeze, they have a costume change. They have to change their suits. They have to change their suits and put on, you know, stylish winter type suits. Because they have time for that, right? You can tell every suit in here is just to sell toys. And that is the big thing that I do feel bad for Joel Schumacher about. Because at the end of the day, it was the studio that forced Joel Schumacher to do all this crazy stuff. And we'll get into more of that. But you do feel bad for Joel Schumacher because you can tell this probably was not Joel Schumacher's true vision for it. Every villain, Mr. Freeze, Bane, I won't even consider this being Bane, to be honest, and Poison Ivy in here are bad and very miscast. And I like Uma Thurman and I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I like them both. They are completely miscast as Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze. And Bane, I don't even know who plays Bane, but I feel sorry for the guy. I do. I'm not judging him, but yeah, that was not Bane. That was... Okay, out of all the villains, let's talk about Bane first. That is not Bane. That is some monster, Sasquatch looking. It looks like Shrek. When I was a kid, I remember, because I didn't have a Bane action figure, I would literally take my Shrek action figure and put like a fake mask over him, like tape, like a black tape over him that as a mask, and pretend that was Bane. Because it passed as it. That's what Bane looks like. Bane in this movie looks like Shrek and the Hulk had a baby. And that's Bane in this movie. He doesn't speak at all, and the little that he does speak, it's just going boom, boom, worky work. That is all Bane is in this movie. And he has no story behind him. He has nothing behind him except that he has toxins in him, and he's supposed to be part of the super soldier project thing that some evil mad scientist is doing that we have no idea about. He dies literally 5 minutes into the movie. Mr. Freeze in this movie, I mean, all he does, like Arnold, again, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I just don't envision him as Mr. Freeze. I don't envision his voice, his kind of physique, and just overall the way how he plays characters. I just don't see that as Mr. Freeze. And in here, he's just not Mr. Freeze at all. He is throwing out puns left and right in the very beginning. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Or let's kick some ice. Or it's cool party. Like, that is just a few puns throughout the entire movie that he says in here. And then for some reason, which is really weird, he sits there and gets mad at his own crew for not singing along to music. How it's going, come on, sing! Sing louder, sing! What is going on? Like, why is this Mr. Freeze? And they tried to put that, story that the animated series put in with his wife, which I appreciate, but they do nothing with it. They literally do nothing with it. She is just there, and it just said, this is why he's doing it. But there's no human towards this guy. He is just a weirdo getting mad at people for not singing along to the Iceman song. Poison Ivy in here, literally, all she is throughout here is just somebody sexy to make guys want to. Every guy around her wants to have sex with her. Even the freaking commissioner in here. And don't even get me started on the commissioner in this fucking movie. All she is going around and throwing guys on her, casting a spell, and then killing them, and for some reason wants to team up with Freeze. When literally, the whole concept between Catwoman and Mr. Freeze are two separately different things. She's for nature and growth and Mother Nature. He wants to freeze Goth. He wants to turn the whole world into the Ice Age. But yet she's in love with him and wants to work with him. Like, how? How does that make any sense? It makes no sense at all. And I'm gonna get on to Batgirl. Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. I have nothing to really even say about it. That's not Batgirl. That's not her name's not even Barbara Gordon in this movie. She's the niece of Alfred. Why? I don't know. But she's the niece of Alfred. She's from England, but yet she has no English accent. She has a full-on American accent. They try to make her cool being a biker chick. And her in the suit, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, this, no, yeah, that's all I can say about her. There's nothing to say about her, and I feel sorry. I don't mean to trash the actress, but, yeah, there's nothing to say about her. Well, I can forgive all those other things in this movie. I can forgive all that if this movie had any story going towards it. It doesn't. It has no story whatsoever in this. It is nothing. Like, literally the only story of this is that Mr. Freeze wants to get diamonds to power his suit and then to freeze Gotham because he thinks Batman killed his wife. Okay, so that's the story, guys. Okay, wow. Ugh, this movie, man. And the whole final act 2 of this movie, it's like, what? Come on. Like, it looks horrible. The stage production looks horrible. The wires, you can literally tell everyone's on a freaking wire throughout this whole ending of the thing. Those freaking people that Batman's trying to save, the scientist people, won't shut the fuck up during the whole scene. And it's like Mr. Freeze is just throwing out freaking puns left and right for some reason. And then out of nowhere, teams up with Batman at the very end for no reason at all to save Alfred. It's like, okay, so you had the cure to save your wife, which now Alfred, for some reason out of nowhere, has for no reason at all. So you have the cure, but you never gave your wife it. But yeah, okay, let's give Alfred it. We get this guy, I don't know it. Okay, nothing of it makes sense at all. And even, too, what this movie fails in doing is trying to give emotion for Alfred. And what sucks is Michael Doug, again, he's been throughout this movie since Batman 1989. And now we're in Batman Forever, which is 1997 or 96, one of the two. And why don't we feel emotion for his death? Because it's so abrupt and it's so in this stupid movie that no one cares. Even Alfred himself has the most stupidest lines possible in this movie. And it's like, how are we supposed to care about this character that we have seen, one of the only consistents throughout this movie, throughout this whole movie series? Why don't we care for him? And it's so bad, and it's so horrible. Look, guys, at the end of the day, I can't hate on Joel Schumacher for this movie, because Joel Schumacher, he literally was, he even says it in interviews, he was told, just make a commercial. Just make toys and a commercial. That's all we want to see. And that's what he did. That's when he went in and made. And so he did his job. He did what he was told to do. And so I can't really blame him as much, because it mostly was the studio at the time. But it is what it is. Guys, at the end of the day, my overall thoughts on Batman and Robin is probably, Batman and Robin is probably one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. It is definitely one of the worst movies, in my opinion. It has little to go for it other than a little bit of callbacks to the 60s campy Batman series, and the fact that this movie was so bad that it paved the way for them to make the best Batman movie, in my opinion, Batman Begins. I can't really falter the director, Joel Schumacher, in this, because everything that's wrong about this movie just goes down to the studio, to the casting, to the dialogue, to the writing. And even, yes, a little bit of Joel Schumacher's directing choices, but still, at the end of the day, he was told to direct like this, so you can't really blame him as much at the end of the day, guys. So, guys, Batman and Robin, God, I probably have never given this low a score before, I think, ever on my channel, but I am gonna have to give Batman and Robin a straight 2 out of 10. I know, guys, I know, it makes me feel bad saying that, because it's a Batman movie, and I have to love every Batman movie, and this, like I said, I do have the slightest bit of love for it, for the campy stuff, which makes it get up there a little bit, you know, but, yeah, this is definitely in my top 5, top 10 worst movies ever made in history, in my opinion. So, guys, let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts on Batman and Robin, guys. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me that this is maybe one of the worst movies ever made? Or do you disagree with me that you actually do find enjoyment? I would really like to know, because I know there's a lot of people that do find enjoyment out of these movies, because they have fun with it. I hear from people I talk to, they always say they have fun, because it's so bad, they have fun with this movie. And if you're one of those people, let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know. Sadly, I hold Batman movies at a more of a standard, to where I like them a certain way, and it kind of, this is not it. So, guys, if you like this video, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, because, you know, all that helps a lot all the time. And let me know down in the comment section below, too, and let me know some movies that you guys want me to do, some movie reviews, or maybe trailer reactions and stuff that you guys want me to do. I always like to know your guys' opinions of what you guys want me to do on this channel, because I really like to do it. And, of course, guys, until next time.
Louder, come on, sing, come on.